Jeff Jenkins with Harvey Payton, recapping the Don Blankenship trial for this Thursday. And Harvey, the jury won't be back until Monday because of the defense motion to play some more audio tapes.
That's correct. Of course, the FBI agent who's been testifying is the government's last announced witness, and at the conclusion of his testimony, ordinarily the government would say, we rest our case. That stops their presentation of evidence, freezes the case in place, and tells the defense exactly that to which they have to respond. Now, the government didn't rest today when they said they were finished with Agent Lafferty because there are some videotape or audio tapes of telephone conversations between Mr. Blankenship and other officials at Massey and perhaps other third parties in which it is alleged by the defense Mr. Blankenship emphasizes to others that he wants safety addressed, that he wants violations addressed, and that he wants his safety policies implemented, which would clearly indicate a state of mind by Mr. Blankenship contrary to what the government seeks to prove. Now, obviously, the defense could introduce evidence of those conversations in their case by calling the other parties and asking them what their impression was. But as they're entitled to do, the defense wants to put this evidence in through cross-examination of a government witness. So the answers of this witness to their questions on cross-examination will be a part of the government's case. And that's significant from the standpoint of appeal and from the standpoint of motion practice, which we just heard before we left. You know, when the court has to consider whether there's sufficient evidence, direct or circumstantial, from which this jury can find beyond a reasonable doubt guilt, it has to consider the totality of the evidence offered, including cross-examination. And as you know, we've seen there's much more leeway to counsel to inquire of a witness on cross-examination than if they would have to bring these folks on in direct. That's the whole point. And to give the opportunity to do that, the government wanted to review the tapes. Can't do it until Monday, so no court tomorrow.
Right. Now, just real quickly, she did hear arguments from the defense that they claim there's no evidence to support any of these three charges, and that happens during trials, but they're pretty adamant that none of these charges can be supported, and the government says, well, they can be supported, obviously.
Well, certainly. I mean, everybody's adamant because It's an adversary system, and the defense, they're not saying there's no evidence because there's an abundance of evidence. They're saying that there's not sufficient evidence from which a jury could reasonably find this man guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Keeping in mind it's a circumstantial evidence case, a lot of this involves how you look at the undisputed facts. You know, Mr. Galinsky for Mr. Blankenship did an excellent job of laying out their position, which is, where's that bright line that points to our client's guilt or innocence, or guilt, and the government again says, but if you look at the array of the points in this whole constellation and join them together, we have enough. Judge Berger promised a ruling, and there'll be a ruling on those motions, I suspect, before Monday morning.
All right, so we'll be back Monday. That's when the jury returns for the coverage of the Blankenship trial. For Harvey Payton, I'm Jeff Jenkins, WVMetroNews.com.